drag racing, where testosterone mixes with exhaust fumes and burning rubber to produce an air of supercharged excitement. But the need for speed is not the sole domain of men. Viveca Averstedt is one of the top dragster racers in Europe, the latest in a long line of sporting interests for the Swede. Her first loves were horse riding and figure skating until a friend introduced her to bodybuilding. She was immediately hooked and devoted 8 years of her life to the sport, winning the Swedish championship in 1988. All this time, her husband Håkan was enjoying a successful drag racing career. But when he introduced Viveka to the sport in 1986, he soon found his achievements dwarfed by those of his wife.
Well, it was a bit of a coincidence, because my husband, who used to compete, talked me into trying it, so I wanted to give it a go. After a couple of competitions, I realized that it was fantastic, actually more fun than bodybuilding, which I'd grown tired of, as I'd done it for so many years.
So Viveka hung up her dumbbells in 1988 and made the move to Top Fuel Racing, the Formula One of the sport. Viveka's success and no doubt her marketability have helped attract much-needed sponsorship. As well as being managed by her husband, Viveka's son and sister form part of the 8-strong crew, helping to make Viveca Averstedt Racing a true force in the sport. Across the North Sea, in London, a fellow drag queen prepares her machine for competition. For Faye Fisher, drag racing is a far less lucrative business, despite newly acquired sponsorship from the big bus company. Lucky Fish, her cherished car, is housed in the garage of their semi-detached, a veritable cottage industry.
Yes, fine, thanks. Good. All the best with your...
Oh, great, thank you. We're off for a weekend racing soon.
Like her Swedish rival, Faye became instantly hooked on drag. When her husband Paul took her to her first race, it brought back many happy childhood memories.
A friend of mine and myself used to just sneak in through this little side gate and just crawl around over all the old car wrecks. There was something about the oil and the smell that it was just one of those smells that you keep with you for life, and I never smelt it for a long time, and then when I was around the cars at the racetrack I thought, oh, I recognise that smell, you know, I must be home again. What do you think, sticking?
Faye's husband Paul has never tried the driving seat of Lucky Fish for himself. There's only room for one driver in the Fisher team, but he's equally intoxicated by the sport.
If I went to the National Gallery, frankly I'd get bored. That may make me a Philistine, but when it comes to large displacement V8 engines, and that to me is an art form. It's loud too.
As well as being the fastest woman in Britain, Faye has a few other hobbies she likes to indulge in. The rarefied air of aerobatics, to more genteel pursuits on terra firma. She's also an expert shot, a parachutist, and a musician.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee.
The real music to her ears comes at Santa Pod and the sound of screaming engines at this year's European Championships. Viveka and Faye are joined by Anita Makela of Finland, who competes in the top alcohol class, one rung below Top Fuel. Broadly speaking, the aim of the sport is to propel your car from a standing start as fast as possible down a straight quarter-mile stretch. Not always that simple, although miraculously none of these crashes were fatal.
I'm a speed machine, and I'm performance, that's my name. I'm super top shots, and my highway, that's my name.
The first time we actually went out in this car, I remember sitting in there thinking, why am I doing this? I could just not do it. I could just get out of the car. But then you think, yeah, but I get a real buzz from it. The danger element is there. I think the day you don't think about it or you take it for granted is probably the day you shouldn't be sitting in the car.
Fay races in the Super Pro category. This differs from top fuel and top alcohol in that each team must predict what their car's performance will be, based on the power of the car combined with external and atmospheric factors. The cars are not as powerful as in top fuel and top alcohol categories, but in many ways this puts more emphasis on the skill of the driver and her or his team. Despite qualifying in second place at the World Finals, Fay is eliminated early on. She'll have to sit back and wait until next year. Meanwhile, Viveka is enjoying the limelight of being the fastest competitor in Europe at 5.05 seconds. Here at Sandapod, she's looking to break that 5-second barrier. However, although track conditions are excellent, tyre shake problems jeopardise her intentions. Nonetheless, she reaches the semi-final. But no further. Continued mechanical problems put Viveka out of the competition. She still finishes the season second in the FIA Championship, no mean feat. The women's movement now rests on Anita's shoulders. There's no safer place to be. Anita establishes a new European record, wins her class, and becomes top alcohol 1996 champion. It's a huge victory for the Finn and firmly establishes ladies in drag on the track.